Hi everyone, my name is Philip Akbaraye. I'm here to present the Organizational Development Capstone Report for the project I did with Guild Education. I'm trying to address fragmented data in the HR analytics team. My presentation will be guided by this outline, start from a brief summary, go all the way to the problem statement, a little bit about the literature review, the research itself, the findings, and then a summary and conclusion. So on a high level, the goal for this research was to understand the impact of fragmented data on decision making within the HR analytics, HR space, and HR analytics team at Guild. This problem itself was the fact that currently the company is struggling with fragmented data. That's data sitting in different system formats across different platforms within the company. Um, Basic findings was that there are challenges and there are problems that are impacting the data accuracy and the reporting of data within the company. And this is directly slowing down decision making. And my recommendation was for the company to hire a consultant for the long term to help them figure out a long term data strategy while implementing the other steps. So Guild is an educational technology company which currently operates from Denver, Colorado. Um, Basically, what they do is to help Fortune 1000 companies like Walmart, Walt Disney, Target, and to mention a few. They help them manage their upskilling programs, which would involve like tuition-free programs. So if you think of it as an employee, you want to upskill, you want to go to college to learn something, you want to upskill. Guilds helps um, its clients to take all the stress off them such that all you do is just go into the portal, decide the course you want to do and the schools you want to go to, and you start your program. And Guilds manages everything on the back end. So it's more like an education as a service program that they offer. The company is a decent size with about 1,500 employees. So the problem that brought me on board for this research was fragmented data. And like I mentioned earlier, fragmented data just refers to data that sits in different systems, different formats across the company. Um, and also, the company has some resource constraint with regards to having available funds to invest into a data project. So this challenge was what brought um, me to the company. And over the next slide, I talk about how I approached this from defining a problem statement all the way to the research and then my recommendation. So the general problem here is that companies operating in the current business landscape needs to take advantage of data because the ability to make quick decision and response to the changing business environment is critical for success within in current times. And when the data is fragmented, decision making is impeded, and this can be a problem. The drilling down to how this affects guilds, the specific problem is that guild does not have a centralized way of integrating data from all these different platforms and formats. And at the same time, they're struggling with some resource constraints when it comes to the ability to invest in a robust solution. With this in mind, I designed the study to examine the impact of fragmented data on decision making within within HR at Guild. Um, and the goal was to do more like a situation analysis, understand what currently exists, and then propose improvements or recommendations. So before I delve into my solution, first I want to talk about what the literature says about this topic, fragmented data. As I've been explaining, it's data that is distributed across different formats, systems, and platforms, right? It can be either the data is in different platforms or the data is in different formats and not a way that it can easily be integrated. It's important to understand the cause of this. And from the literature, we learned that one of it is incremental adoption of different technologies over time. So if you think about it, let's say you start using a particular software for your, um, let's say, performance and development, like your appraisals, right? And you use another software for time off, like people want to take their vacation and all that. And you use another software that helps you with collect with employment in terms of onboarding people and all that. So you have multiple softwares, um, and this software generate data. And if you don't have a way to integrate this data efficiently, all this data will be sitting in different place and be fragmented across different systems. Another thing that causes this is, like I mentioned, when you don't have a consistent data governance practice, right? So as you bring in a new software, asking the right questions on how you're going to use the data, and that's where that's what could cause this. And the last one we can see from the work of Shet et al. Is departmental silos, because department can say, oh, we need to do this and look for a solution without thinking of how that solution might be integrated into the overall data system. And what is the impact of this, right? It leads to poor data quality, um, poor quality of results in terms of your analysis, and ultimately poor decision making for companies. So, from the literature, we can see that data fragmentation is a challenge. And one of the things that literature talked about is the need to have a comprehensive strategy for data governance and data integration. On the top right is just a word cloud of all my literature review, and you can see data analytics, I mean data fragmentation popping a lot, and you can see integration, because that is important for companies to be able to improve their decision making agility. So the foundations under which I viewed this problem was first the results-based view, which is a concept around thinking of an asset that the company used to gain competitive advantage within the marketplace, right? And based on Barney's model, the asset should be valuable, it should be rare, immutable, and not easily substituted. Now, depending on the company, data can be all those things, right? And if you think about it from the concept of HR, HR is all about people and making decisions, right? With regards to what policy do we, what will be our work from home policy, what will be our rewards policy, what will be our performance policy, right? You need data to make these decisions, and so those things can actually be a source of competitive advantage for you in the marketplace. But to balance this view is also the information systems theory, which goes through the framework around how you process, collect, and store data, and then make it available for people to use. So more like having the data ready, collecting the data and putting it in a way that it can be used, right? So putting these two theoretical foundations together, we can then understand really what is the impact of data fragmentation within this company. The research was designed as a qualitative phenomenological research. So I was trying to understand the phenomenon, like you can see, examine what's going on, what's the impact of this. And to understand that, I needed to understand people's experience. So the research questions that guided this inquiry was, how does fragmented data impact decision making, right? That was the first thing, trying to understand how it impacts decision making. And the other thing is, are there any cost effective solutions that can help to improve decision making agility? To approach this, I did semi structured interviews with just 3 employees, and the interviews were structured in a way where it's semi-structured. So there was a structure, key questions, but there was also opportunity to ask other questions to understand. And to deal with the data that I gathered, I performed a thematic data analysis to understand um, the what are the themes that I'm seeing or what is really popping from this data set. And right here on the right is the steps that I had to go through for the analysis of the data. Going into the findings, for the first question, trying to understand the impact, two key themes popped. One is it impacts data accuracy and reporting. Also, it creates operational challenges that kind of affects quick decision making, right? One of the comments from the interviewees was that the time it takes to manually collect the data from different systems and perform a thorough analysis, time has moved and the company just made a decision that was not exactly data driven. Um, Looking at the second question, inquiry, trying to understand the cost effective ways of data management, it popped that the company currently doesn't have that. And also, there don't seem to be a long term, viable, strong long term strategy for data integration within the company. So based on these findings, I came up with some proposals. The first is for the company to engage an expert to help them understand and plan a long-term strategy for their data, right? Then after that, they can implement a unified data management system like a data warehouse, and then begin to invest in integration tools and technology. With this recommendation, I believe the company will be able to solve this problem of data fragmentation. However, in going through the study, there were some limitations and challenges. Um, One of them was it took a long time for legal to approve for this study to start. Um, the other thing is the limited sample, so I had to interview only 3 people. I'd have loved to interview more people and understand what's really going on. But given the size of the people analytics team and the time frame, I could only interview 3 people. And because of that, the results are not going to be generalizable, but can be this same study can be repeated in a different context. To sum it up together, fragmented data, it undermines the reporting accuracy and can lead to decisions that are based on anecdotal evidence or incomplete data, right? Which is not good for the company because you don't want to make a decision just based on gut feeling alone. You want to understand what the data is actually saying, given the rapidly evolving business landscape that companies operate in today. Also, the operational challenges with manual consolidation of data, which impedes timely decision making. And there's a clear need for a holistic approach to data management, where you can think about for every new systems you're bringing on board, how you're going to treat the data, what's the process is going to go through. For the company to get started, the recommendation is to get a consultant who's knowledgeable that can help them begin on this journey. So put it with all this, the company should be able to solve the challenges it's having with fragmented data. And the next couple of slides are just my references. Thank you so much for listening.